Good morning, everybody. Happy December 4th, 2025. Only happens once a year. And if this happens to be your birthday, happy birthday. um, Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. This is the what is it called? Advent calendar, uh, otherwise known as the Spare No Expense Advent calendar. Um, and this is the fourth, so I got to open it up. This is for Cheryl and I and all of you. This is my first day in a couple weeks without Cheryl. House is a whole lot better with her here. So, okay, let's look for number three. Number four. Let's see. At least this is fine quality chocolate. I think it's only 91% wax. Man, they make it impossible to find. 20, 10, 17. We're going to be here an hour waiting for me to find number four. 8. Oh, got it. Okay. It's right here. What the hell? I do not know. Oh, okay, I think it's a deer. What do you guys think? Can you see that? I think it's a deer. It doesn't even smell like chocolate. Hello, Manuel. How you doing? Um, wow. Okay. Well, anyway, that's day number 4, so we're doing pretty good. Booyah. Um, Good morning to you. Grab your coffee. That is, if it's the morning. If you're in America, it's still the morning. But if you're Magnus from Cologne, it's already the afternoon. Hello, me again. Nice to see you. So anyway, I wanted to make this a really, really simple one today because I could spend every hour I talk about Scientology being the worst place on earth. I could talk about this for hours a day and never go to another subject, and I would be fine because I just believe we could spend all day every day on it and not give it the credit it needs to get. Okay, which is there's a million justifications. Okay, you know, mass murderers justify everything. Anyone can justify anything. Okay, but the truth of the matter is Scientology is evil. Okay, and I don't even believe that's my opinion. Like, I believe that's just absolute fact. Okay, it's not accidental. Um, it is purposefully 100% evil. And what do I mean by evil? For those who don't have to actually have a definition in their head, okay? Profoundly immoral. So it's not an opinion, okay? It's profound. To me, an example of something evil, okay, grabbing some old lady's purse, right? That would be incredibly evil, right? There's no way to judge. I don't care how hungry you are. I don't care about any of it. You know, it's evil. To shake a baby, to kick an animal, what I mean? Like there's things where there's just, to me, there's no justification that is remotely sound. Okay. Um, a broken clock is right twice a day. Okay. I was in Scientology 24 hours a day my entire life up till 19, 20 years old. Okay. And, and then I was never like officially out, I just shut up uh, after that. But Scientology, they only someone or an organization that's evil would want to portray something, okay, and would go out of their way to portray things that aren't even true, like that have no basis in truth. The reason you need to go portray those things is because they don't actually happen, right? Like, in other words, you never heard of a church that does go help people portray that they go help people. People already know that, you know? Like, Criminon is a great example, because if you're a if you're a felon, you got some crazy jacket, Scientology is not going to allow you to be part of the group. So they don't care about you getting out of jail. What do they care? You can't be part of their group. It's literally, you see what I'm saying? It's just for show. Okay? Nothing else. The committee of evidence I told you guys about. Hey, Tony. What's up, big girl? The committee of evidence. And by the way, hey, girl, every day, 8 o'clock, I don't have to text you. Every day. Okay? I'll text you if I'm not going to go on. That way it'd be just a lot easier for you and I, because it makes no sense for me to text you every day that I'm going on at 8. So assume 8 o'clock every day forever, and I'll text you if I'm not. Okay, and yeah, so remember that committee of evidence that I was telling you guys about, that on one of Jenna's last TikToks, you'll have to freeze the picture, but you can read it, and you can see there's no evidence, there's no committee. There's no committee of evidence. There's no discussion. There's no nothing. But a committee of evidence, if I asked 100 people to tell me what comes to your mind when I say a committee of evidence, every last one of them is going to say a group of people are going to look at a bunch of evidence and then come to a conclusion. Who wouldn't say that? Okay? And then you get to see what a committee of evidence really is first of all, you're guilty before you even start. There's nothing to talk about. Okay, you're guilty. So it says mayhem, right? This is what they accused Jenna of, right? The crime of mayhem. So it says mayhem. And then it says Jenna Miscavige says she is innocent of the charge of mayhem. Period. We say she is guilty of the crime of mayhem. Period. You're guilty. Okay? Does that sound fair to you? And even if they did tell you ahead of time, what they only tell you on the day that you find out you're guilty is, and what it says is, Jenna threatened to call the police. She didn't even call them. She threatened to call them twice while they were helping her. I have a lot of friends. I've never heard of it. No one's ever said, "Hey, Eric, you know what? This guy was helping me, and it was really helping me, and I was thinking about calling the cops." uh, it is really ridiculous. Okay, in other words, there's not even 1 second as a Scientologist you're wondering what the results of that comment are going to be. You would bet everything, all in. Okay, guilty. It'd be like getting an innocent plea in North Korea. I mean, good luck, bro. Uh, so, anyway, my point of bringing that up again is it's again for show, and not even for the public, just for the parishioners. It's still for show, like so everyone thinks that there's still recourse and things can't be just absolutely dead set, psychotic in stone, whatever. And and that's evil. It's evil. You're trying to present something that you know isn't. Why? Because you won't get the desired results if people knew the truth. So you have to obfuscate, you have to hide, you have to be clever, you have to do all kinds of nonsense. And then when sometimes they just have to straight out lie. There's no other way. They just have to 100% lie. Okay? And now this doesn't go everywhere. The person in the galley making chicken salad is not guilty of this, okay? But if you're in Scientology long enough, it almost won't matter what post you hold. You will eventually learn how things really work. And I don't know how long after that, but yeah, you start being guilty of, you know, not as bad, but you start becoming, you know, a piece of that machine, you know. I never ever wanted anything less in my life than to help convince someone else to follow me and have a horrible life and just get their family destroyed. I never ever wanted that to happen to anybody, but I know damn well I was responsible for selling that, you know. And that, like I said, that really hurts. So, everyone has to take some responsibility. But that said, the people doing it are obviously 100 times more evil than the people who are letting it happen to me. I know on paper they're the same and all that, but to me, there is a difference, okay? So, like the Masterson case is probably the most known example of Scientology being evil, okay? The first Jane Doe, that case, Scientology found that case out and found out that that indeed happened. And they brokered the settlement, the civil settlement between Masterson and that first Jane Doe. Okay? Trying to make sure nothing happened down the line. So there's no question that that one happened. That's not even a question. Okay? And then it was later proven in court, and he's doing 30 years behind it. And another one. Okay? So another one was proven also, while a third one supposedly wasn't proven. My point is, they knew it happened, yet his family has big bucks, okay? Big bucks. And that's even before, they had big bucks before he had big bucks and his brother had big bucks, okay? So, I mean, that family's killing it. And that would not have happened for me. I'd have been thrown the hell out. My family would have been thrown out, everything, okay? Because we wouldn't have the money for this. But They knew he did that. I would doubt sincerely there's any evidence of any ethics conditions completed by Danny Masterson anywhere in the MMA's office, MAA's office. MMA. MAA's office. And I bet you there's no record of it because I would bet serious money he never spent one day doing a condition of anything except check writing. So they know he did it, yet they don't declare him. Yet the lady who brought forth that accusation was also a Scientologist, right? But it's a high crime to go to the police against another Scientologist. It's a high crime. It's treason. You get the boot. After one of these super fair committee of evidences. So she gets the boot. She got graped and got the boot. I dare you to justify that. It's impossible. Okay? I have no idea. It's a great question. Will Masterson be in the Epstein files? I mean, again, your best friends say a hell of a lot about you, okay? And I'm not saying acquaintances, like some, that's whatever. If you're not a shut-in, you're going to have some acquaintances that are probably whack. But if your closest friend, if one of your closest friends in the world, Ashton Kutcher, his closest friend in the world besides Danny is P. Diddy? Yeah? Okay? And Leah Remini, her BFF is J-Lo, one of the most universally despised people ever, has to actually purchase positive statements for her social media and got busted for it because every sixth one, the same statement came up with a different Avon name. It says a lot about you, okay? And no one's going to convince me that Leah Remini doesn't know what her BFF is up to and what she's been up to. Because I know what my BFF has been up to. It's just how it works. That's the whole point of a BFF. So Sean P. Diddy Combs, whatever, is Ashton's best buddy and Danny. That leads me to believe that Danny probably ran into Sean a few times. Okay. I would bet the odds are favorable, quite favorable, in fact, that did indeed happen. That the best buddy of both would have those meeting up at times while Ashton is there. It would just make perfect sense. Okay. And these guys are known for partying hard. They're not just drinking some beers. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. They are out of their minds. And the whole 70s show cast, you don't have to do any deep dives to find out they were, that thing should have been filmed in Peruvia. Okay. But even after knowing, thank you, girl, even after knowing these things happened, for a fact, Scientology was able to use the rule that you can't call the cops on another Scientology. You can't go to law enforcement or seek a civil remedy, outside of Scientology or criminal. You can't do that. You cannot go to the cops about another Scientologist, regardless of what they did. Okay? they're saying that came first. I mean, I don't have anything to show this is what they said, but this is all they could say, is that upon that happening, you were declared. So it wasn't like we busted you. That wasn't our way of busting your ass for trying to get our meal ticket in trouble. That's not what we were doing. The fact that you went to the cops is why we gave you the boot. Okay? So why didn't you give Danny the boot? Well, she should never have gone to the cops. Fuck the cops. You see what I'm saying? That's how they work it. They won't even have that discussion with you because you can't get past this. Right? It would just be stonewalled. You know, they would pretend nothing even happened past that. And in fact, they could maintain that they don't believe it even happened. They just think that he, in a court of law, would lose because of how what she has to say versus, you know, he forgot where he was that night and has 9 alibis and she can remember quite coherently. Whatever, but they would use that as an excuse. Like they could literally say, we don't believe he did it. Okay, but you okayed the civil payoff? Well, we just wanted to get rid of it, get it over with. And, you know, for him, you know, it was like giving $10, no big deal. And now we're moving on. And it protected the church, you know. Because again, all you have to do, just, you know how like the government can get away with anything by just going, national security. And now you can get away with anything. It's the same thing in Scientology. It's the same exact thing, you know. So they can say, I was protecting the church. That doesn't make any difference what you do. Okay? James Steele, Leia is a fox in the henhouse, for real. Absolutely. I feel that 100%. Question, do police uphold that illegal policy with payoffs? I mean, you know, I think LRH was really good at one thing, and that was knowing it makes sense to pay. You know, he wasn't one of those guys trying to, you know, plant a flag and do his own ass whipping. He was like, who do I pay off to work here? You know, which is a smart way to do it. Because again, he never had to hide. Everyone knows where you are when you're in command of a $500 million, well over $500 million in the mid '80s. People know where you are and who you are and what you're about. You're not sneaking up on anything. And he wasn't hiding anyway. Did you see the places he lived in? Good grief, man. I wish I could hide like that. I mean, nice, nice places, you know. I mean, he had 1 foot on a peel by the time he was in that. They could have put him in a broom closet, you know, by the time he was in that trailer. He didn't know what day it was, what year it was. He thought he was in Sector 2 or something, you know. But it's evil. It's just evil. It's like, I don't want to hear any justifications, you know, blah, 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 blah. No, it's evil, okay? It's profoundly immoral. And to the people who do that, yes, I despise those people. Of course I do. Okay, because those excuses, no, there are no excuses that work for me. Because you know why? They never could have got me to do it. That's when I would have said, that's it, I'm out, right? And whatever happens, happens. We'll find out, I I because I ain't doing that. Okay, just like if Miscavige would have flown across the desk at me, I would have literally suplexed his ass off the balcony, and then I would have been in jail and you know, whatever. But that, you know, there's certain things you ain't gonna do or have. They're just, you know, there's lines. Okay. regardless. And so for those who did the evil work, the people in Osa that were doing the evil work, actually destroying families, uh, you know, trying to hurt good people on any level, makes you incredibly evil. Okay. Um, um, and it's 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 just that simple. Hi Anna, Mima. Good morning. So yeah, I just want to make that crystal clear. Like there are there are no gray areas, okay, to me. Having a child in an auditing chair and administering new aerodynamic processing on other adults is evil. It's evil. It is profoundly immoral. No one gets off scot-free. Okay, it has a brutal effect long term. Okay. Um, Having separating families inside the Sea Org, even, not seeing your parents for a month, once a month. Uh, Everything they do allows them to have more control. And none of it is by accident. There's a reason why they separate the children from their parents. So they're accustomed to it. And when their parents finally have enough and are tired of breaking their back for what they finally find out is an absolute scam on every level by any metric, they hold their kids over their heads. And their kids are absolute hostage. And then they lose their kids. Okay. That's why they do it. Everything has an end phenomenon, an EP. Okay, there is a reason for every last thing they do. None of it is accidental. And hi, Vicky. Joel says good people can't do evil things, in my opinion. I mean, I think like firsthand, I would agree with that for sure. Like, but I think you can if you're around long enough and you have enough to lose, you can sort of be looking the other way at the right time and justify it by saying you didn't pull the trigger and all that shit. I just think people do that, and does that make them not evil? I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure because I think those people would never have done it themselves. And if you forced them to, I don't think I would think at least half of them just wouldn't. Maybe half would. And I could be wrong about all of this. This is just my opinions, okay? Um, you know, like why is it that keep in mind Scientology wasn't even a thing yet when Dianetics was written, right? But in Dianetics, Ron talks about if you were auditing Dianetics and then you came, you go earlier similar until you were a 7-year-old girl and you got a passionate kiss from an adult, which already raises every flag on the block. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, where passionate kiss comes to play with a child. I do not understand. Thank you. But a passionate kiss, if it was rejected or if you were repulsed, it has to be a banky thing because the kid's too young to have even known if that should be bad or not. Okay? But come Scientology 4 years later, you're just, you're an adult in a small body. You see how those don't correlate? Because he should have said, hey, you're actually 73 trillion years old, so get you some, because he's a sick freak, right? But he actually says that that 7-year-old girl should not be repulsed. Like, that's just a banky response, because how would she even know that to be? And my response to that, by the way, is we all have reactions that we never have to think about, because they're real and they're true and they're supposed to be there. I don't know how they get there. You guys can talk about that. You don't need me here. But they happen. Like, when I'm in session and I did 1,000 billion hours of TRs, okay? And when I'm in session, there was never a time I didn't feel sympathy for a pre-clear, ever. I was just able to perfectly hide it. But it's impossible not to feel. How the hell can you not feel it? Of course you feel it. Can you feel it if I punch you in the back of the head? Yeah, you feel it. It's the same thing to me. There's no way not to feel it, okay? And they've already taught you that it's irrational behavior to even feel that, okay? They have taught you it is irrational behavior to even feel that. But that's not enough. They know that you realize by being in that zone on the tone scale of irrationality, anything sub 2.0, it's going to be an ethics condition. It's going to be an ethics cycle if you're around here and we have anything we got to do. So you stay the hell out of there. Was that enough? No. It's so obvious that LRH knew everyone was going to feel sympathy that he then wrote it in the auditor's code. Okay? Which is something you swear to uphold. Okay? And it states clearly that that sympathy to a pre-clear is a high crime. They can send your ass packing. So it's not enough that you already knew it's irrational in an ethics cycle. They now let you know we could even boot you down the road, because they know auditing won't work if you're somebody. How could it would never work? It would never work. Okay? I mean, it doesn't work anyway. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't. It's absolutely worthless in my opinion. Sorry to those out there that disagree and are still doing this for some freaking reason. On the independent side, I think you're all Looney Tunes, but God bless you. I wish you a good life. Okay. So there's no gains coming from any of this. All right. I don't care how you do it. It's just not possible to have any gains that mean anything with this shit. But again, just getting back to the evil part, okay, there's no way we can even get here without just acknowledging it is evil. They know ahead of time. You can't make these plans and you don't put them in place unless you know you're going to need it at some time. And the only reason you're going to need it is because you're full of crap, you're lying, and you're cheating people, okay? So it's so easy for the people inside to justify, like I said, the Jane Doe, she should have never gone to the cops. The whole thing stopped right there. She's done. We don't care what declared people say about shit. We don't believe declared people. We don't believe SPs and versus people in good standing who have given millions of dollars to the International Association of Scientologists. Okay, so, it reminds me actually a lot of dealing with the police commission and the city council, okay, because that's basically for show. It's where you can get some steam off your chest, It's like the steam comes out of the kettle, so They let the people who were most reactionary or whatever, talk for 3 minutes and they feel better. But like I said, I watched thousands of hours of C-SPAN because I was infatuated with the cycle and how it works. And I would say somewhere in the neighborhood of 1% of stuff that people request probably gets done. And it's only because it was going to get done anyway. It had nothing to do with the person who comes every Thursday for 16 years screaming and crying. No one gives a shit. How can you be coming every day for 16 years if anyone cared? Okay? It doesn't matter who's sitting in those seats. Those chairs are paid for. Okay? Is that the case in small places? Probably, but I think you can put enough pressure on them depending on who you are and what kind of, the noise you can muster up and with whom. You still can probably influence a lot of stuff, in tiny towns. But like I said, in LA, New York, what? Are you kidding me? In places like Brooklyn or the Bronx, I bet they just go to sleep. If this is how a councilman would be in the Bronx. And, they don't even have to fake it. Chicago, Houston, you're not getting anything done. There's a line around the block with people that have 10 grand for a request. And that's what it costs for one simple request. That's pretty widely known, by the way. But anyway, like I said, it's evil. It's nothing short of that. And they get you believing it's not because the justifications are so rapid fire and they compartmentalize everything. So by the time it gets to you, you're off the hook and you didn't do anything that shouldn't have been done earlier. And Ron says quite clearly in the defense of Scientology, you may do anything. There is no ethics handling whatsoever. And so they can make you sleep good at night and make you feel like you did a good thing, even if you're crushing on people. So it's not that I don't know that's a big part of how they're able to get people to do stuff, but there is a level there, okay? And I don't believe anybody doesn't see it, all right? No matter how they put it, they came to the conclusion that Masterson raped the first Jane Doe and set up that whole civil financial payment. Do you think there's any possibility they did that just for funsies? Or do you think they really believe he did it and she could prove it? I believe they did. And it bears out because she was able to prove it. Okay? And so even afterwards, like, if you're okay, and this is my plea to anyone who could see this who's still in, okay? No matter how you justify it, what happened, right? You can't change what happened. What happened was Masterson raped somebody. The person he raped was tossed out, right? Well, I mean, was declared. And he hasn't been. And it wasn't like it was just that cycle. He got convicted of 2. So let's say you were a little bit hesitant to believe because you're psychotic that he did the first one, even though you worked out the payment. After the second one, I think I'm going to be like, you did it. You did this. Okay. How come he wasn't declared for the second one? Oh, yeah. I forgot. It's because you went to the cops. Which means we declared your ass and you're an SP, and we don't care what an SP has to say about an upstanding Scientologist. We all know that's crap, but for the people who might see this who do work there, you're a part of that, okay? It can't happen without you, okay? People need to eat. They need a clean place to sleep. They need this, they need that. All the things that you're doing, even if you don't pull the trigger, you're making it possible for others too, okay? That's just the most important thing that can be said in my estimation is there's nothing accidental. Okay? It's 100% evil. They've done this for 75 years, okay? They know what doing certain things over and over creates a certain thing, okay? And they've seen this for decades and decades and decades, and they know it to be true. So they know that the harm that Scientology dishes out is not by accident. It's by design, okay? And would you expect anything malevolent? Is that the good one? Or benevolent? Malevolent? The good levolent? The good levolent? Do you think a place that would look that literally will justify grape, bounce those who were victims, do nothing to the victimizers? Is this a group that is looking out for anyone's well-being? I mean, of course not, right? So, that's what you're a part of. And my fight is with Scientology, not the Scientologists, except for where it's not shrouded. Like, if you don't think Scientology's on the up and up in every single place, but you're still in, okay, but if you know they're doing some harm, you owe it to yourself to look into it a little further, and if you are an auditor, let's say you're a 40-year-old auditor and you started Scientology when you were 25. So you have plenty of experience. Could you even doubt how devastating what you went through would be if you did it when you were 12, 13? You know better. So the place is evil. It's not accident, okay? The abuse is real and thorough and complete. So, yeah. So let me see. Go back here. Yeah, Joel McCoy says, where I come from, we call that a kangaroo court. It's just for show. And like I said, that's not even for public. That's for show for the practitioner. So you always walk around believing that there are these options and these, stop-loss places where you could get some justice that aren't sus, And then you come out to find out it's a total joke. So I bet you Masterson didn't even have to write up his overts and withholds. I will go as far as to say that. I bet you he didn't even have to write up his OWs. Just sign that check for a Milski and we'll move on. But my point also is Scientology keeps close tabs on everybody. You don't think they keep close tabs on the celebrity practitioners? You don't think Scientology doesn't know what J-Lo and P. Diddy are up to? Come on, man. Give me a break. That's what they spend every dollar on. Okay? So I'll always address positive things when I can think of them, and I'm the kind of guy who I'll still acknowledge a positive even if it comes out of the worst place. So but this is one of those situations where um you know, Remini's best friend is J-Lo. Masterson's BFF is Kutcher, who's Diddy's best. Come on, man. And you want me to believe that these people that everyone doesn't know what's up? I ain't buying it, bro. Anyway, it doesn't mean you still can't do some good stuff. You know, to my knowledge, the Hells Angels, still have given out more unwrapped toys than any other group in America. And, that's millions of children that got an awesome gift that could have been, the money could have been spent on machine guns or meth or whatever. And at least, so even if you don't like the group, I'll still acknowledge, well, that part was cool. Nothing wrong with that. But like Scientology doesn't even have that. There's nothing even accidentally right about Scientology. When you investigate it further, like I used to think the volunteer ministers I always knew was Fugazi, okay? But I still, like, in other words, I knew day to day they weren't doing nothing. Scientology wasn't giving out one sandwich, one bottle of water to anybody. F you, okay? But as soon as there's some kind of big to do, they got to be there for the photo op. But even though I was well aware of that, I still thought they were doing way more. Like, I thought, okay, that's the one time that they go to, CVS or Walgreens, and load up on whatever, or the Costco, whatever the hell, and load up on water, protein. But like, I thought they would do it to it, but again, just for show. Just like when they give out the food in the parking lot, right, for their Fugazi food drive. The dude who I talked to and interviewed on Sunset in front of Kaiser hangs out at that Edgemont one or worked there or something. There's a church on Edgemont and Fountain that does breakfast and dinner every single day, and it's all food from given to them from Whole Foods and Trader Joe's. So he was very familiar with what Scientology gives out, and he goes, they give you everything's rotten today. Like it's you get 2 leaves are good on this lettuce, and you need to eat it now. That doesn't work. Okay, so everything's about to rot. So again, I would have thought that would have been one of the places where a multi-billion-dollar operation to get the PR, not because they give a crap, would go ahead and put together a nice little thing and even maybe a fun little toy choking hazard for the kids. I mean, no big deal. Spend a couple dollars, right? Because of the PR, it's totally worth it. We know an absolute maniac lunatic in the community who loves to feed homeless. And by the way, almost none of the people he feeds are homeless. You can see they all have a place to live. They're just walking by getting free food, just like during the the loitering of the couple day loitering on the easement of Fountain Avenue. Um, Same thing. It was the same 7, 8, 10 people coming to get food every day because they didn't feel like cooking, you know. But regardless, the only point in feeding them is to get the PR. And the disgusting guy who does that even said so. So no one can F with you. You can say, I'm feeding the homeless. Okay? So I figured Scientology would at least come with it in times. And I thought the volunteer ministers, what a great time to do it, right? If you were totally full of shit, what a great time to come through with a truck, of protein bars and whatever the hell, protein shakes, wet naps, water, aspirin, band-aids, whatever, right? I mean, spend 50 grand. They spent 2 million on that stupid commercial or whatever, how much it cost for the Super Bowl. Spend 50 grand. I mean, it's totally worth it. And then I find out they would put water, a whole bunch of water there. So they're coming with the cheapest damn thing they can buy that takes up space. And then they're going and stealing other people's stuff. It's insane. Did you guys see that? It was what was it at the racetrack or something? The last time the volunteer ministers they were taking stuff that was for the event. So my point is, Scientology doesn't even care enough to come up with good lies, to come up with good smoke screens, to deliver anything that can withstand the slightest investigation. Okay, they rule with fear. They rule with complete, thorough control of every facet of your life and those you care about. Nothing is fair. If you have money, it's a whole different deal. I don't believe Leah Remini, because of the 4 months she was in the Sea Org at 16, 17. I don't believe she really remembers, how it actually is if you don't have money. I mean, she was on, I remember when she was over working at Survival next to the Big Blue, and my office was next to Survival, and she was just doing she had a reoccurring role as Alyssa Milano's cousin on Who's the Boss. I mean, I knew of her then. So I mean, what I'm saying is there wasn't a lot of time for her not to be treated decently. Okay. Because you get none of that good treatment if you're just a normal schnook. Hello, Night Sky Fire. Yep, guilty if you can't prove yourself innocent. That's for sure. Oh, Lori Marie, that's perfect. Tap the like, have AA Run playlist on a loop, and enjoying this stream with great people. Thank you so much, Lori Marie. I love seeing you here every day. A Girl says, well, is there LRH policy that says WOGs are guilty? And by the way, I only found out in the last year that's a bad word in Europe or whatever. When you're in Scientology, no one ever tells you that's a bad word in Europe. Like no one, or it's even from Europe. Not that anyone cared. All that ever meant was you were a non-Scientologist. We had no clue it meant anything else. So if you hear it on a anti-Scientology stream, I mean, that's what people are referring to, non-Scientologists. They're not trying to insult somebody in England. Okay. But no, they're always going to take the side of where the money cometh. If there's an ethics matter between me and someone broker than me, I'm going to win. That's the way I see it. Which is pretty much real world too, What does a cannibal call a person in a good mood? A happy meal. James Steele brings you this good stuff. These are some knee slappers. Um, A girl says, I always wondered that. It kind of feels like they think raw meat is tainted or wrong until they are reprogrammed with LRH problem. Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's almost more programmed to feel pity because that's even a more disgusting way of being. But it was like we're so awesome and you're so degraded and such a loser. Hopefully, lightning hits you and you unf yourself enough to get in here, hopefully. Otherwise, you're just going to be more pond scum, worm food, in the Matrix or whatever. It was much more of that kind of thing. It was always like they would talk about other, like I said, other religions, especially in that way, where it was like, oh, those poor bastards, how could you delude yourself? Could you imagine? And this is one thing about religion that just trips me out because everyone's saying that, and that's why I don't want to give anyone any crap ever. If you tell me you pray to the polka dotted frogs, man, more power to you because I haven't found anything that doesn't sound loopy yet. So keep up the good work. I only care about Scientology to the degree that they hurt people. I don't give a crap that they believe stupid stuff. I don't care. You know what I mean? It doesn't bug me. um, oh, wow. Wog in the Navy is a sailor who has not yet crossed the equator. What a trip. Um, let's see. Joel McCoy, a sign at a cannibal cafe. Regular person, $100. LRH 10,000. Why so much? He is so full of shite. It takes 400 hours to clean him. Joel McCoy coming with the big stick, hitting it long. That's in the parking lot. That's a good one. JM killing it. That's a good one. Oh Lord. Um, since there's lots of things we can't, prove when it comes to Leia and all these kind of people, you're letting it be known that like it's just not a good sign. It's not a good sign. Okay. Um, did I like what Leia did with that show? I did before I found out the usury behind it and all the crap that went along with it. Yeah. Am I glad that show happened? Yes, absolutely. But that's, of course. Um, but she was also well complimented and rewarded for it. Okay, it wasn't an act of mercy. She didn't give that money to the St. Jude's or some crap. You know what I'm saying? So whatever. But would I hire you to babysit my cats, knowing your best friend is could not be closer with Diddy and J Lo? No. Okay. And like I said, it's not. Um, to even publicly crap on Jane Doe's before their day in court is disgusting, right? Let alone afterwards when it's proven. I mean, it's just, you know. Um, I don't know what Scientology's net worth is, but it's got to be staggering because everything almost, I would say, maybe half of their portfolio, the entire buildings were purchased and upgraded without them reaching one penny into their pocket, right? And they're all going to be worth a minimum of 4 or 5 times today what they were worth when they were bequested, or whatever the word is, given. Uh, Man, it's got to be staggering. It's staggering. I would think 10 billion minimum. Jay Young, no more kids in Scientology. Absolutely. Thank you for being here. Chelsea, oh, thank you. I appreciate that. It is pretty funny. Um, Night Skyfire, don't hurt people is a good rule to live with. I like that one. Oh, so benevolence is the good evidence. Benevolence is a good one, and malevolence is the bad one. Can you put a one in the chat if that's right? I can never remember my levelences. Pollywog. One. Okay, cool. Thank you, Jay. Yeah, not having Scientology on the planet would absolutely make it a lot safer for kids. Um, yeah, I mean, Leia was in the Sea Org for like 3 months. I think it was like the summertime. And I'm not trying to belittle her experience. It could have been horrible. I don't know. I just know when you have money, it ain't the same as when you don't. Okay, so however that played out in her case, it still could have been really bad. Like, in other words, it might have been really bad for Leia on the celebrity tip, but the worst treatment as a celebrity has got to be a great day for a regular schnook. That's what I'm thinking. Um, Miss Diva. Oh, by the way, Miss Diva, um, I'll see. I mean, I might have to. I might have to just get a snow jacket. I don't. It's so freaking. Oh my God! It's so cold at the sign. I was there yesterday. After dropping off my better half at the airport, I went to the sign and was thinking about doing a stream, and it was only like 57 degrees or something, but it was freezing. The wind was 15 miles an hour. I'm like, oh no, and so I'm going to be rocking a lot more drives probably where I just do, and I'll tell you ahead of time so you can even just not even go if you don't want to. But I'll be cruising the strip to 90s music or 80s music or 80s hip hop or this or that or whatever the hell I want. But the point is, I don't think I can stay out there and freeze balls. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try just one time for us all. I'm going to go out there and brave this ridiculous freezing on a Friday or Saturday. I'm not wasting it on a Wednesday or Thursday. I'll go out there at like 8 to 10 type of thing, or 7 to 9. Um, Even 6 to 8 should work because the party buses should be, get there before I leave. And I would know if it's happening or not because I don't know. The thing that would be fun is one thing I know is people buy outfits they love, right? They try them on in the store with all their friends. So let's say some busload of what do you call it? Not groom, but the brides. The party. That they have, the bachelorette party, and they're all wearing some bitchin' sparkly red outfits, right? They're all going to have massive jackets on. And then they're gonna take them off because who wants a jacket? No one wants a picture at the sign with the monster snow jacket. So they're gonna throw that stuff aside, and be all like it, doing the flamingo like it's all cupcakes, and they're gonna be freezing. So that could be fun to see. But I think I'll give it a whirl because I miss being out there. I miss the damn cart. I don't even know if I want to ride in that cart right now. I don't think I would even take a free ride. I'd be like, oh my God, and if it's not windy, it's 100 times easier. But when that wind's kicking up, even just 52 degrees or whatever, with a 15-mile-an-hour wind, it's freezing. Just so you know. Uh, oh wow, from El Paso to Alaska, what a move! Wow, wait. Oh my God, hey girl. I almost wrecked last night. We had ice coming down and I spun 200 degrees facing wrong way. Thank God the car didn't. Oh my God. Whew. Hearts for a girl. You're not allowed to crash ever. They need to do Running Man at the ESCO. That's funny. Thank you, hey girl. Oh, that's funny. Uh, Yeah, I mean and you guys know, I mean, if you're, I don't know what happens to you, but after you go through even just one summer of 105 degrees, 110 degrees, when it's 65, you're like, Night Skyfire and A Girl would be in tank tops riding bicycles, but I'm frozen solid. Um, But anyway, I just wanted to really drive that point home, and like I said, I could do it every day for the next 10 years, and I'd feel good about it because I just don't want there to be one person anywhere believing that it's even possible that it's a good Scientology is a good thing that's just a little haywire or just has a little wacky beliefs, but they're there to help. And no, they're not. Not in any way, shape, or form. It is a 100% mind control, human trafficking, uh, ultra grifting enterprise. That's it. Um, but anyway, so thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. Another great morning with you guys. I appreciate you. Thank you for letting me just spill beans on whatever the hell I want. That's what the whole point of this is. And I look forward to doing it again. Hopefully, I will see you guys if I can figure out something to do later. We'll see. But I probably will take a stab at Friday and Saturday and see. If it's Good Friday, I'll go again Saturday. PBG, thank you for the rose. How beautiful. That was gorgeous. Man, that was nice. A cup suck. What is that? A cuss puck. What? Um, Okay, you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon. And every day, 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. Pacific time, have a coffee with me. Kick back. Let me know what's on your mind. Love you guys. I'll see you soon. Until next time.